Dog will start snoring now.
Good afternoon. Today I'm speaking to Kitty. Good afternoon. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself and your books?
Yeah, hello, I'm Kitty Wilson and I write romantic comedy. I have 5 books out at the moment that are all a series based in Cornwall, based around the Cornish Village School. They're light-hearted, they're really good fun. They just take you away from life for a little bit. I've really enjoyed writing them. I'm currently on a new contract and I'm writing my first 7 non-Cornish Village School books. And they all say romantic comedy, but they're going to be set in Bristol because that's where I have moved to recently.
Did you always want to be a writer?
Always wanted to be a writer, and never thought of myself as creative. Does that make sense? I always thought of myself as academic, but I didn't think I could write a story, but I always wanted to. So as a child, I used to do it all the time. You know, lots of stories about princesses and dragons and suitors. And then as I was an adult and a parent, I thought I would try again, but life gets in the way and it takes quite a bit to sit down and write 90,000 words. But then, I mean, obviously not luckily, I got poorly and I became pretty unemployable. So once I'd stopped sulking, it gave me time to really chase it as a dream. And yeah, that's the upshot. Lots of books. So it turns out I could write a story after all. At least I hope I
can. And what made you choose romantic comedy over anything else?
I love it. I love the escape of it. I used to come home from work and do the children, get prepared. Just wanted to curl up with something I could really escape into. Does that make sense? And romantic comedy was my go-to. Like I said, I always thought I was quite academic. A lot of my friends were quite surprised, but I just love it. I love that feel-good feeling you get, that real, the quick escape. It takes a couple of pages and you're in, aren't you? And then yeah, that happy ever after and the will they, won't they. I just love it all. So I thought, write what I love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And did you read a lot of that sort of thing when you were growing up and as an adult as well?
Yeah, loads. I've always had several books on the go. I still do. So I mix it up a lot. But yeah, romantic comedies, my go-to. I read a lot of historical fiction as well because I love that. I don't read a lot of crime, but that's simply because I don't really want to read about murder and brutal stuff. I want, real life can be tough enough. I just want to escape into fluff, quite frankly, and it makes me happy. So history is as rough as it needs to get for me in fiction, I think.
Are there any authors that inspire you?
Oh, loads, absolutely loads, bucketfuls. Oh gosh, I could name them all. Obviously, Jill Mansell, Sophie Kinsella, Wendy Holden. Her romantic comedies, I think she's writing more history-based things now. Used to have me in stitches, and I used to just wish I could be that funny. More recently, Mari McFarlane. She's a must-buy for me. I love her books. Oh, yeah, there are absolutely tons and tons and tons. But you know what it's like when you're on the spot. You're like,
yeah, your brain's like, now I've got nothing.
Brain seizes up, doesn't it? I could go and look at my. Oh, I tell you what, Julia Quinn. I have loved Julia Quinn for years. So, Bridgerton's really popular on Netflix at the moment, isn't it? And everyone's sort of.
That's mostly because of the Dukes, though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It's mainly because of the Duke. Who can blame them? But she's been my favourite author for years and years and years. So much so, I literally bought the whole back catalogue several years ago and rationed them to myself. So I didn't sit and read them once. I've still got a couple there. So if I ever really need that escape, I've got Julia Quinn. She's fabulous, and I'm really glad that she's getting the attention she deserves because she's so funny, so funny.
For your comedy elements, are they based on experiences or are they just stuff you make up?
A bit of both. I was a infant school teacher before I was an author, which is why, again, Cornish Village School, write what you know. And the truth is, I really like small children. I taught a reception class, and I don't think there's much more in this world that's funnier than a 5-year-old child. They don't have a filter. They say it as it is. Until they're a bit more used to school, they do exactly what they want. And, So a lot of it is based on the experience, but like having said that, none of the things in my books are real life things. Does that make sense? Because I'm really sensitive, really aware of that, the real people out there that I've taught. And I can't be robbing the stories of their children to put them in books. That just wouldn't be okay. But so yeah, based on experience, but pretty much entirely made up.
Awesome. Yeah, little kids are great. I love them.
It's so funny. They say the most appalling things. People desperate to say, but just aren't brave enough. So I like small children because they tell you it as it is. Yeah.
Okay. They just have no cares at all.
No, but then you know what you're dealing with because they're telling you truth and you can sort it out. I've social codes and people being very polite. I often struggle with because I'd much rather people were just a bit more blunt because then we all knew where we stood.
Yeah. Are you a plotter or a pantser?
I was very much pantser when I started. Then I was writing 2 books a year and I had to become a plotter pretty quick. So what I tend to do, I'm now kind of middle. So I plot, I know exactly where my story's going. I know the characters really well before I start. But for the humour specifically, that needs to be pantsered. Does that make sense? That comes to me as I'm writing usually. So I have a good view of the overarching plot and where I want to go, but then I kind of try and let the characters have the freedom to take me off on the tangent if they want. It's normally better what they're doing than the ideas that I've come up with them previously.
You've started a new series based in a different place, but is it the same characters?
No, it's not a new series. It's 2 standalones. So I've just finished one, which is with my new editor now. So I don't know what they think of it yet. So it's terrifying, that stage. It's absolutely terrifying. So you're constantly waiting for your email to ping and that email to say, yeah, it's great, or that email to just make your life go. So that's a standalone, that's a Christmas story, and I'm biased, but I love it at the start and I love it at the end, but the writing bit in the middle, I'm not so keen. But I'm back to loving it now, so I'm really excited to hear what my think about. That's a standalone, that's set in Bristol, and then the one I'm starting more or less today, I'm just waiting to hear back about that pitch, is also a standalone, so completely different characters. Which is really new to me because these 5 have all the same characters running all the way through. So I was able to build up an entire community, and one character that would prick my interest in one book would then have a book dedicated to them later on. So it is a new way of working for me. It's going to be interesting to see how it pans out because I don't know any better than you how it's going
to go. Did you prefer writing a series or do you prefer writing a standalone?
I loved writing a series. I'm also really liking writing standalones. I think with lots of things, they have their merits, don't they? I think once I'd reached the end of the series, I wanted to try standalones and see what it was like. And I do really enjoy it. But I love the community feel. So the village they all live in is Penbenner, and it almost became, they're going to drag me away in white coats, but it almost became a real community. I was there every day in my head, so sort of for years, for 3 or 4 years, and I really liked getting in depth and everyone knowing who runs the pub and everyone knowing the vicar and all that sort of thing. So you've got the time to develop more things in a series, I think, but I quite like the discipline of writing a standalone as well. Ask me again in 5 years and then I'll have a firmer
faith. Funnily enough, I've spoke to a few people and they're on their 25th book of the series and they're still loving it. So
you do really get attached to them. And I'm thinking that I've just recently, again, the last couple of weeks, set up my website. I've been putting it off for years. And I'm thinking, right, I want to get people to sign up to newsletter. So I've sewn a bag and I'm going to offer books and things. And I'm thinking I could write some more short stories about Penbenner and do that. And then I'm having to sort of slap myself down and go, no, you've got to write the books you're contracted for. You can't sneak back to the village. Not just yet, maybe later.
Yeah, you'll be fine. How did you keep track of all your characters in the series?
That's my head. I mean, the thing is, I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday. I can't remember what I've watched on television. I spend my life watching a film, getting halfway through and going, oh, I watched this last year. I forget everything. But for some reason, my brain keeps hold of these little details. So lots of authors keep spreadsheets and things, but I didn't. I just kept it in my head. And as far as I'm aware, I've made one continuity error across all 5 books. And I know what it is because I was rereading them. I can't remember why, but I had to reread them for something. And I was like, oh, but that was the only one. So yeah, I keep it in my head normally.
That's impressive. Do you hide any secret jokes or messages in your books that only a few people would understand?
Yes. But only a few people understand them. So yeah, I have little Easter eggs. I have little hidden messages as well, sometimes just to friends and things that friends and I have discussed. I sneak in just to make them giggle.
And you get messages to say, I noticed.
They're secret, yeah. One day I'll share some, but that day's not going to be today.
Do your family read your books?
My mum does. My children don't, the little sods. That they say really nice things and they tell me how proud they are of me all the time, but it's times where neither of them read the books yet. But that's also okay because it gives me a bit more freedom. Does that make sense? I have adult children. There are certain things that they don't want to read their mother writing. There are certain things I don't want to read me writing. So actually, them not reading is kind of fine. My mum does. My partner read the very first book I wrote that was unpublished. Was so supportive, and that was, yeah, he was amazing about that. Still thinks it should be published and made into a film and all the rest of it, but I don't think he's read the others, and I don't know that I'd want him to, because I'll be on tenterhooks all the time thinking, what if he doesn't like it? So yeah, probably best that he doesn't. And he's not really an anti-comedy kind of guy. He's a bit more Star Trek.
That's quite common for partners and for children, actually. A lot of authors said their children don't read their books.
No, they don't, and that's fine as well. Yeah, no, I think I prefer it that way for the time being. I'd like it if they bought them. That would be really nice.
Yeah, can't have everything, can you?
They're pretty sound as human beings. I'm pretty proud of them as they are. I can let them have the 99p.
Yeah. And do you get a lot of feedback from readers?
Oh, I love it. That's got to be the best part of the job. Yeah, I really like it. It's really solitary, to be honest, and I'm still poorly, so I don't go out an awful lot. That's fine. That suits me well. I'm quite introverted. I like being at home. But it is solitary, and every now and again my messenger bings and it's someone getting in touch to say thank you, or I was having a tough time and I read this and you made me smile. I've had NHS staff who've been reading them through lockdown get in touch, and yeah, things like that. I think you hug them to yourself forever. It's really meaningful. So when I say I like to hear from readers, I really mean it. It's lovely. It makes it worthwhile. And it always seems to come at a point where you're just losing the will to live and thinking, why? You know, you've hit the middle of the book when you're thinking, why am I doing this? I'll just give it all up. And then bing. So yeah, I'm really lucky. I feel really lucky.
I think that's a good thing, partly about lockdown and partly about social media, isn't it? It's now easier than ever to get in contact.
It is, and it's funny because I would never have reached out to any of my favourite authors because it would have seemed so off limits, and yet now I'm an author. I absolutely love it, and I'm there. Why have you never done that, you fool? Because it is really nice to hear from people.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't think I would have years ago, but now I'm just like, yeah, I'll just message them, it's fine.
They can block you, can't you? It's that simple. If someone's difficult, they can be blocked. And as yet, it's never happened. People have only ever been absolutely lovely.
Yeah, I imagine you've got quite a nice bunch anyway that are reading romantic comedy, not like crime.
No, I've never met one yet. Yeah, they seem a sound bunch. Another pro for writing romance, to be honest.
And have you made friends with lots of other authors?
Loads. Really important to do as well. Again, because it's solitary. And like I say, my partner's crazy supportive. I really have landed on my feet with him. But it's only other writers really understand that hair-pulling angst when you've 25,000 words in and you no longer love your book as much as you thought, or it's not turning out to be the best book you've ever written ever in your life. Other writers get it. You don't have to explain, you don't have to give context, they just get it. So yeah, I've been really lucky. I joined the Romantic Novelists Association before I was published and started making friends then, and it felt weird. It felt like I was trying to say I was a writer when I wasn't published. Does that make sense? But actually, it taught me that if you're writing, you're a writer. Being published is neither here nor there. You're immediately part of the tribe. And then by being in that tribe, everybody's helping you, giving you a step up, you're learning all the time. So yeah, if anybody wants to write, that is my key tip. Make friends on social media with
seems like a really supportive bunch. Doesn't matter what you write, does it? I don't think. It seems like all authors and even readers are all supportive.
The book community as a whole is fabulous, and social media has enabled people to reach out and get in touch. Yeah, I've made friends that I think, or I hope I will have for life through writing and social media. Some of them are readers, most of them are writers, and yeah, it's really fabulous community. But then, if you love books, you can't be all bad, can you?
What's been your favourite moment as an author so far?
Getting messages. That's trumped everything. I would have thought it'd have been holding my first paperback or signing my first novel, that sort of thing. But it's getting feedback from people that I've never met who've said, your book, yeah, like I said, your book really made me smile. Your book made me laugh when I was having a tough time. I had one review once from a woman that said, I've not been sleeping at night. Your books are crazy at night. And I know what it's like not to be able to sleep. It's horrible. And to have something to distract you. I mean, that's, yeah, I think that will always be the best thing.
That's lovely. What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
Oh, good Lord, I'm not telling you that. Just trust me when I say there have been many, many things. All of them brought out my own shocking behaviour and bad choice making.
I'll have to ask you when we're not recording, see if you'll tell me any.
I'm not going to tell you. 10 years time. 10 years, I'll tell you then.
Okay, I'm going to keep you to that. I don't forget anything. If you were deserted on a desert island, what 3 things would you want with you?
Oh, okay. I'm going to be really cringy now. Really cringy. You can vomit, slap my face, and then tell me the answers aren't good enough if you like. But it has to be my partner, my children, and a copy of William Shakespeare's complete works.
Yeah, that's cool. Keep you busy for a while.
It's a bit cringe. I love Shakespeare. My next book. I mean, it's contemporary rom-com, but I've managed to wedge that man in there. And yeah, so that will keep me busy for a while. I could read them. I could force the children to act them out. Come the end of the day, they could bonk me over the head with it. So yeah, lots of purposes for that particular book, I think.
And if you were to...
If I was allowed a 4th thing, then I'd take music.
Yeah, that's quite common as well, actually.
Yeah.
If you were to invite 4 famous people to a dinner party, who would you invite?
God, alive or dead?
Up to you.
Okay. I don't know. The geeky academic in me would want to invite Socrates, although I hate myself for saying that because that sounds a bit pretentious. But he would be fascinating. I would love to know about his life in Athens, like, all those centuries ago. So I'd definitely go for him. The more normal side of me would want Stephen Fry. because who doesn't love Stephen Fry? Mary Beard for the same reason, because she's my absolute role model. I love that woman. Obviously never met her from afar like a crazy fan. And the fourth one, I don't know, I can't off the top of my head. Yeah, I adore Shakespeare, but I don't really want to meet him because I think I'd be really disappointed at how normal he was. You know, I'm ravingly political, so this is a bit of a shocker to me, but I'd quite like to meet the Queen and just have a proper old chat with her. Does that make sense? How she's managed to keep it together for so long without losing her temper at people.
Yeah.
But if I had time to think about that question, you will get completely different answers.
That's why I like putting people on the spot so they don't have a chance. I find it a very interesting indication of people's personalities.
Okay, God, what does that say about me? Stephen Fry, I'm saying Stephen Fry, we're golden.
Yeah. Stephen Fry and the Queen are two of my choices generally. So, yeah. I mean, the Queen is awesome, right? She's been in charge for so many years. She's really old. She's got messed up family, and she's so cool.
I'm right with you. My son doesn't get it at all. And my son and I completely share our politics, but he doesn't get my love for the Queen. And I think she's amazing.
I think just woman to woman, I think she's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And again, no, I was about to say things and I remembered I was being recorded, so I stopped. But yeah, she is awesome and she's had to put up with a fair whack. I think she's got more patience than anyone else I know. Yeah. I would love to know what she's like behind closed doors.
Yeah, me too. Apparently she's got a really good sense of humour, which would explain a lot.
I reckon she could be quite sharp. I reckon she could also be quite cutting, which would make me giggle loads.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
If you took down all the politeness and the decorum, she'd probably give you fairly short shrift. I like that. Yeah,
well, I mean, old people do anyway, don't they? They don't give a crap what they say or who they upset.
They've learned it, haven't they? Yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to getting old. I've got a couple in Annie and Ethel who are in my Christmas book, and I love them. They are my role models for getting old. They don't take any nonsense.
Yeah. So what's coming next for you?
This new Christmas book that I've snuck Shakespeare in. It's a standalone comedy between Belle and Rory. Belle is a little bit of a wild child. Rory's a little bit staid. They knew each other in uni. He thought she was too hedonistic. She thought he was too dull. But then they bump into each other as adults. And I could say, will they, won't they? But it's romantic comedy. We both know what's going to happen. But I've really, really enjoyed writing those two. So that's next. That comes out later this year. Fingers crossed. Like I say, it's my editor at the moment. And then my next book, which I'm writing, I've only started today because I've been working on it with my agent, the pitch, and then I sent her the synopsis off today to say it's only really rough. What do you think? And she said, yeah, I really like it. So I've got a contract for another book, so I'm hoping that I'll get away with writing this one. I started today because I couldn't wait any longer. Apologies, that was the dog.
Yeah, mine's awake now. He's waiting for his grub. What's your biggest goal as a writer?
I think to just keep on writing. I'd like to be able to do this forever. So I think to be able to carry on writing, to be able to make the sort of people that like my books keep on smiling. And carry on as I am, getting better and better. That's another thing. I think I hope you get better with every book you write. So I'm really proud of all my books, but you know, when you go back and read those essays you wrote for GCSE and you wince a little bit, I'm hoping that I keep getting better and that I keep wincing at what's been and gone, because that's it. Keep on doing it forever. Keep making people smile. Get better and better.
And what would you say to people that don't normally read that sort of book to give them a go?
Do you know what? I think people should read what they're comfortable with, and if they don't want to read it, then they probably shouldn't give it a go. But if they're looking for something that, it depends on their personality type, but I just like that squidge up, comfy, happy. I like to escape into a world where everything's all right, and the worst thing that's happened is the dog's being a bit naughty. That's possibly unfair, actually. My books deal with quite harsh real life issues, but still in the safety of Pen Manor. Yeah, I don't know that I'd be very good at convincing anyone that didn't read rom-com to read rom-com, but I reckon it's well worth a shot, because especially in times like this. Well, do you know what? I don't know anyone whose life isn't a bit difficult from time to time. I don't know anyone that's got a perfect life. Everybody has problems, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
How well you're doing. So rom-com is a really nice way to escape the realities of your life. Really nice way. And yeah, I am super happy in a bath, a cup of tea, some chocolate, rom-com novel, best hour of the day.
And you wouldn't consider writing in any other genre?
I would love to write history one day, but it's not natural to me. I sort of naturally, when I was starting out, I just sat down and wrote and saw what came naturally, and my kind voice was sort of romantic with a little bit of piss taking, really. I hope that's all right to say. Yeah. I'd love to write historical one day, because I am such a mad history geek. I don't ever want to write crime, because I go to, so although I plot my book, I then pantser it as well, but at night I tend to go to sleep thinking what I'm going to do the next day. I revisit in my head what I've written and where I want to take them the next day and how I'm going to make that funny. And I'm really happy going to sleep that way. I don't want to be thinking about how I'm going to kill someone, how I'm going to dispose of the body, how I'm going to cover my, do you know, just no, not for me. But I really admire people that can. I really admire people that can.
And what historical era would you like to write about?
Oh gosh, all of them. I guess, I mean, we know the most about the Tudors, don't we? That's been written to death. My degree was around ancient Greece and Rome, so I'd love to do. You've got great books out by people like Natalie Haynes and Madeline Miller that deal with the Greek myths at the moment. I would love to write things like that. Absolutely love that. By the Dark Ages as well, so early medieval history. That I'd love to do. And I thought with my poor children, we dragged them around Brittany looking at dolmens, stone funerary monuments. So we'd be off for a nice day, kids, and they'd want to go to kids club, but no, they get dragged under these stones, great big granite rocks where people were buried. Isn't this fun? So yeah, free history, fascinating as well, but I wouldn't know where to start writing a novel about it.
No, neither would I, and I admire people that do. I think they're amazing.
I'm not lazy, I'm pretty focused, but there's a lot of research and I'd be terrified of getting something wrong. I can't get anything wrong in Pen Manor because I make it all up. Does that make sense?
And what do you like to do when you're not writing?
Do you like writing? Music. I love music. I just love the people I love. Does that make sense? I think we all do. I'm no different from anyone else. So I'm really happy on a summer's day, sat outside with people I love, just giggling, eating nice food and chatting. On the beach. So a lot of time on the beach. I've missed that since I've moved to Bristol. So I guess that would be an answer as well. Yeah, just being outside with the people I love is my favourite thing other than writing and reading. And food, really like food. I kept a diary when I was a child and every page was, for lunch I had chicken mince and for dinner tonight I had a crispy pancake. It was all about food. That was all that was in that diary.
Oh, you must miss the food in Cornwall then. There's so much nice food in Cornwall.
There's so much nice food in Cornwall. But I'm in Bristol, which pre-lockdown was amazing for restaurants. So like I used to actually drive up for the weekend. I've got a restaurant here that I just love. Now I drive to Cornwall and go to a restaurant down there that I just love. But obviously, lockdown has stopped. So yeah, food in Cornwall is amazing, but food in Bristol is pretty good as well. And there's so much more. And actually, it's a little bit cheaper up here. I think because you've got so many restaurants all competing. I do have bad foodie habit, and yeah, lockdown came and I got those freezers stuffed with deliveries from my favourite restaurants.
I'm jealous. We don't have anything like that. I'm miles away from all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I am very lucky. It felt a bit like that in Cornwall, but then when I first lived in Cornwall, there wasn't much at all, but it's got really shishy in the last 10 years. So now it is easy to find good food everywhere. But yeah, it wasn't for a while.
Well, I don't think I have any more questions for you, unless there's anything that I haven't asked that you think I should have or you'd like to tell us.
No, there's nothing else I want to tell you. I think I've told you far too much about my life as it is.
I have that effect. I wheedle it out of people without them realising.
No, I'm happy. I can't think of anything else you should have asked me. No, it's been a really nice afternoon though. I've really enjoyed myself.
That's good. Do you just want to tell people where they can find out more about you and your books?
Yeah, sure. So let me wave all the books at you that I've got. So look at these pretty covers. I would like to add, I do not have my books on my bookcase like this from day to day. That's just but they were there just to hear. So like this is the first one, so pretty, all spring-like. This is the second one, all autumny. That's all around bonfire night and fireworks. I really like that one. Then summer. They're pretty together, aren't they? I know I shouldn't say that, but I didn't design them, so I can say it because I'm just saying I thought the designer's done a fantastic job. Christmas. Love Christmas. And this is my final one, which is slightly different from the rest because this is about the woman who was the villain through all the others, and she's an absolute nightmare. So I thought I'd set myself a challenge and write a romance for her and her husband when she's been so horrid all the way through. So yeah, 20,000 words in, I began to think, what have I done? Everywhere. So there are buy links all over my website, kittywilson.co.uk. Definitely sign up for my newsletter and you might win one. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them online, Waterstones, Smiths, Bookall, everywhere, Kindle, Kobo, Apple Books. In fact, Apple Books in the States is free at the moment, but yes, so they're not hard to find. Just pop in my name and watch them pop up. And if you come and say hello to me on social media or come and be my friend, then you'll see when they're free or cheap, which is even better.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
It's been lovely meeting you. I've had a really nice afternoon.